Hi, Michelle here from Happy Scrap Girl Designs. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a Photoshop brush, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make the process easier for you. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is open up our image, and I have one here. I just have white printer paper and I used some black paint and I stamped this image, and I want to make it into a Photoshop brush. So the first thing that you have to do is crop it down so that it's not a lot of extra space around it. I've already cropped this down pretty close into my image, so you're going to want to go ahead and crop yours down as well. And then once it's been cropped down, you want to resize it. What you need to do to resize it is hit Control Alt and I. And if you are using Photoshop CS5 or below, you need to have your image be 2500 pixels or less on the widest side. In order for it to create a brush. If you have CS6 or Creative Cloud, you can go ahead and make this as big as you'd like. But do keep in mind that if you're going to sell it or distribute it, share it, whatever you want to call it, with someone who might be using Photoshop CS5 or below, you're going to want to make this be 2500 pixels or below. So my image is already changed to that size, and I'm at 300 for my resolution also. Go ahead and click OK. Okay, the next thing that I like to do when I make a brush is I like to have it my image converted to black and white. And the reason I like to do this is because usually when I make my brushes, I make them with black paint, black ink, black marker. Sometimes if I do paint, sometimes I'll use different colors and I might not convert it to black and white, but when you are making a brush, anything that is white will be transparent and anything that is black will be solid. So the blacker your blacks are, the more solid your brush will be. If you want your brush to have a semi-transparent look, then you want to use gray or another color. The lighter the color is, the more transparent your image will be. But I usually like to make mine black and white, so I'm going to hold down Control Alt Shift and B, and it'll pull up this little black and white box, and I'm just going to hit OK. Another way you can do this is to go to Image Mode Grayscale, and it will ask you if you want to discard the color information, and you can just say discard. All right, now that I've converted this to grayscale, it's not completely white and not completely black. And so if I were to make a brush like this, all of this part where it's kind of gray would look funny. It would not be transparent. Here, I'll show you really quickly. So if I just made that a brush really quick, and I picked a color here, let's pick red, make a new layer, brushes, you can see on my edge right here that it's painting it this purpley pink color, and it's not completely transparent. If I were to put a stroke on here, you could see that where the gray was not completely white, it's not making the image completely transparent. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to delete this layer. And we're going to use our levels to get this to be completely white so we get a more crisp image. So Control L to pull up your levels box. And usually when you have a black and white or grayscale image, you're going to have your peaks are going to look similar to this. And what I usually do, there's a couple things you can do, is you can use the white color picker and select the area that's white. It doesn't usually get it quite as white as I want because there's usually some areas in here that are a little bit darker that I want to be more white. You can also select the black color picker and select your black areas, and that will adjust it a little bit more, but I always find that this doesn't quite work right for me. So if you hold down your Alt key while your levels box is up, where it says cancel here will change to reset, and you can just reset it back to the original image. And I actually like to move the sliders, and I'm going to take this slider on the right, which is for the highlights, and I'm going to slide it over just to the left of these peaks over here, and that's going to get it so my whites are pretty white. And then I'm going to take the shadow adjuster here and slide it over to just where this peak starts to form. And that's pretty close to being very black and very white. If you use the same color paper consistently, the same white paper consistently, and the same kind of dark blacks or same colors inks, you can set a preset for your levels. And you just go to, whoops, that's not where I want to go. Go to this little box and click, save presets, and I actually have mine saved here, and I named it HSG brush levels. And the next time I want to use this, I can just go in here and pick load preset, put this in here, and when I click this drop down box, my brush levels preset will be automatically in here, and I can just go ahead and click this instead of playing with my sliders, because I know that that's about where I want my sliders to be. Click OK to accept your settings. And then we can go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and you can name it whatever you'd like here, and notice that it is under our 2500 pixels because we want to be able to share this with people who are using CS5. Click OK. Now, if you are just using this brush to make a scrapbook page, or if you are going to make a paper, it's probably good that you stop with your brush there. You don't really need to do any more work. But if you're going to be using it for, say if you're going to sell it or if you're going to share it with other people, you may want to clean it up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is make another layer above our original image, and I'm going to fill it with white. I'm going to make one more layer above that. Select B for brush and choose the brush that we just made. And I'm going to click in that new blank layer so that I stamped our brush. And then I'm going to add a stroke to this in red. And I'm going to make it nice and big because my eyes are apparently getting old and I need to see that a little bit wider. And I'm going to change the color to red so that I can see it better. And you can see it did a pretty good job of cleaning up all of that gray area where before, you remember, we had it was actually still looked like a square around the outside of this. Now we just have some stray pixels here, and I'm just going to use my lasso, L on the keyboard, and I'm just going to clean these up. Just go all the way around my image. Select the inverse, Control-Shift-I, and delete to get rid of those extra pixels, and then I'll do the same thing on the inside. Really quickly, I'm doing kind of a messy job here, sorry. And delete that, and then I would go in really close and just clean up the stuff here with my eraser in block mode, just to clean up any little strays that we have here. And sometimes I might clean up these ones that are in here a little bit so that we have a little bit cleaner edges. It depends the kind of look we're going for and how big the little stray is there. And you don't need to watch me do all of this, so I'm going to stop. But once I have this image all cleaned up, then I would go again and I would remove the stroke and go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, give it a name, select OK. And then if I want to share these or if I want to save them for another time, click on the little symbol here and we're going to go to Preset Manager, select the brushes that we want to save. It's hard to see that, but they're outlined in blue there. And then Save Set, give it a name, and find a spot to save it. And you're all set with your new brush set. Your brushes can be used so many ways. You can use them to make graffiti for a kit. You can use it to make a mask. You can use it to make papers for color variations, for so many different things. Brushes are so useful, and so knowing how to make them is an incredibly useful skill. Knowing how to make them quickly will save you time and allow you to be more productive in your businesses if you are designing. One of the things that I've done that might be another quick tip for you is I've actually made myself what I call my brush maker action. You can see that right over here in my action palette. And you can see I just made a new action. If you've made actions before, they're actually pretty easy to make. I'm not going to do that in this tutorial, but basically you just you want to add and make a new action, and then you hit record and you make your follow all the steps that we just went over and hit stop when you're done, and then go through and play it and make sure that it works properly. But by making yourself an action, you can save yourself a lot of time. Let me just show you how quick I can do this. Let me put this in a new document to make sure I don't mess that up. Okay, and I'm going to show you just how quick it makes my brush for me. Okay, it's all made, and I just need to go select it here. It's the last, and go over here and stamp it really quickly on my layer that's already set up with a stroke because that's part of my action. And then I can just go through and erase all of those little strays before I resave it as a cleaned up brush. So making yourself an action can help you save even more time. Okay, I hope you liked the tips and tricks on how to make a Photoshop brush. And if you have any questions, please contact me at happyscrapgirl@live.com. Thanks so much and have a great day.